That's right, finally, after all this time, it is now episode 50 of the Moaning Show. I've put the feelers out for some topics for viewers to suggest what they'd like to see me complain, moan and bitch about. And to begin with, I got one suggestion, and things were getting a bit worrying concerning the progress that was being made there. Now, a few things before we get started. I do apologise about A, the vest, and B, the noise you may hear from my electric fan, but as I film this, it's really fucking hot, and that's something that I might just add in myself a little bit later on to really complain about. But I've got a list here, and the first thing that was suggested by one of the bigger fans of the show, and thank you very much to him, was to complain about the Muslim or racist activist Tommy Robinson. Now, I didn't know a tremendous amount about him to begin with. I knew he was a complete and total bellend in the first place, and I just, I did a little bit of quick research before starting filming, but in all honesty, he's an ultimate bellend, like I said. I mean, here's a person who represents the ill-informed minority of complete and total wankers in the world that have risen up in the last, say, 5 years or so, thanks to people like Donald Trump, who is obviously one of the most powerful men in the world, but at his deepest core, like this guy Tommy Robinson, is nothing but an arsehole. You meet him in the streets, and from what I've seen of him and from what I've heard of him, is the gang mentality of the dregs of humanity, and it's like the evolution of humankind. There's a lot of there's a tremendous amount of people that think like him, so fucking Muslims, Indians, people of colour or people of a different race, and would say, fuck off back to your own country, you're taking our jobs and our houses. Fuck off, you complete arsewipe. These are the people that stop the rate of evolution. They stop, people like you and me getting the things that they need. The type of people that live in a mansion because they've got 8 kids and they claim their benefits, and they have no reason to claim their benefits. They claim their benefits because they don't want to work, they don't want to contribute to society. It's a horrible thing when people like my long lost mother now, who's nearly been gone for 6 years, really did need the help, really did need a nice place to live, because of the problems that she had. And it really fucking annoys me that people like this twat get all of the law plaudits, they get all of the better things. It proves that good things happen to bad people and vice versa. Bad things happen to good people. If you're a keen viewer of the show, you know that I've had a shit 2019 so far, and it's it's gonna be crap for the rest of the year. It's just the way my life is. But here's a complete and total arsehead. I don't know how many more adjectives I can use to describe him, but it's just the absolute dreg of humanity that you don't even want to be associated with. Yes, you may have feelings about a certain type of person. You may have feelings about a certain religion, or these are, for instance, the Moaning Show is my opinions about X and Y. They don't have any basis in this or that. If I had my way, religion would be exterminated because it's the main cause for all war. It separates us when we should be uniting as a species to make ourselves better. You know, can you imagine if everyone was on the same, reading the same book and the same page? Maybe disease would be taken out. We'd achieve like faster than sound and eventually faster than light travel in and around, you know, science and space. That's one of the reasons why I like Star Trek a lot, let's just say, is that its creator, Gene Roddenberry, had a fantastic view of the future, where humans work together to achieve a common goal, and then with aliens and, you know, other species and technologies and things like that. And then you get the opposite end of the spectrum with people like Tommy Robinson and the British National Party. You know, they want white supremacy. They want nothing to do with any other race, creed or religion. It's like the Ku Klux Klan in America. White supremacists, you know, and it doesn't help when we have people in this world that stop us achieving what we can, you know, as a species. On now with other suggestions from other viewers, and I thank you very much for them. They posted them on Facebook. One thing before I carry on, I would very much like to start getting comments and suggestions in the box underneath the video, because obviously you're watching this on YouTube. It's where I upload these videos. You know, just the old comment, give a like now and again. You know, it's like, it's just a click on a mouse. I mean, it doesn't take a lot, but let's hear from you, the viewers. You know, let's hear your thoughts about what I'm saying, about what you'd like in future shows. You know, because we've hit episode 50. I'm in a good place in terms of recording these videos. You know, you've probably noticed in the past few that I've done a batch at a time, and that's probably the way I'm going to do things. Upcoming videos, you know, they include subjects that I've talked about before, but the things that get on my nerves, something chronic, are the things that I'm going to keep repeating. For instance, the Formula 1 fiasco. I've got another little bit to talk about in a few minutes. So let's hear what you want to hear me discuss, moan, bitch, complain about. You know, this is not just my show. I want it to be your show. I want it to ideally grow, you know. So let's hear what you want to moan, bitch and complain about. Alright? But on with the next subject is that coming on from the Tommy Robinson thing and the BNP thing and the so-called dreg of humanity type thing, is people having no manners anymore. And this was brought up by a viewer who is actually a cousin of mine, and it's a very true thing. Moaning Show, yeah, it's just a bit of fun really, but it does contain what people would term colourful language, and I have to put a disclaimer, or I feel like I have to put a disclaimer these days, underneath every video to say, note, may not be suitable for children. Fucking right, it's not suitable for children. This is an adult of 34 years of age. I look older, yeah. But this is all my opinion about something, you know, about X or Y, like I said earlier. But the thing is that manners are decreasing. You step aside for someone that you can hear maybe moving faster than you, behind you, or when you're out walking or whatever. Especially me at the moment, as I film these episodes, I'm still using a walking stick. But, or you open a door for someone, or you just move out of the way for a pushchair, for example. And, you know, you don't get a thank you most of the time. You don't get a, oh, time very much, or a nod even, you know, or a, you know, that'd do me. But my cousin's right when she says that manners are disappearing. And it does get a bit frustrating when you know that you can move at a certain speed or a certain way of doing things and bits and bobs, la 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 la. And then all of a sudden, you know, you think, well, I won't do it next time, fuck you, you know? I've moved out my way, I've taken time out of my day to make your day a teensy bit easier and a bit quicker. You don't even thank me? Fuck off. You know? Yeah, alright, I can hear you're faster, or I see you've got a kid in a pushchair and a kid walking beside you. Or beside the pushchair or whatever. Well, you've got a load of bags of shopping, I'm not loaded down with anything. I'll move out the way, or I will step onto the road. And you don't even have the common decency to thank me for what I've done? Fuck you! If the roles were reversed, I'd expect you to get out the fucking way. You know, and it doesn't take a lot of time. You know, you put one step on the road, or tell her if you're on the path, you put one step on the road, 1 foot on the road, get out the way so the person can pass you. Doesn't take a lot. Alright, for me at the moment that's almost a physical pain, but you know, that's the year I've had. But I expect to be treated how I treat other people. I was brought up like that. School teaches us to treat others with respect the same way we expect to be treated. So if I'm holding a door open for somebody, or if I let someone pass me because I know they're fucking quicker, I mean, look at me, even if I wasn't in the position I'm currently in at the moment, I'd still be doing it. Just a quick nod, or a tip of a hat, or a wave, or whatever, you know, or a tar, or a cheers, or a thanks, you know, it doesn't take the worst thing ever. But getting nothing, I don't do it for a thank you. But it'd be nice to get one, you know. And when you don't get one, you feel really small. It's like you're doing something for someone because you feel obliged to do so. We should all feel obliged to do so. So specifically with an old person in a buggy, or a disabled person in a wheelchair or a buggy or something like that, and you get fuck all. And that brings me on to my next point, which is also brought on by my cousin. I thank her very much for it. Is if you have a disabled sticker or card, or the thingamajig you turn the dial on when you park your car or whatever, and you don't look disabled, and you get these funny looks from people as if to say, oh, she's not fucking disabled, or he's not fucking disabled. Get this through your stupid thick fucking heads, alright? Not all disabilities are physical. I work in a care home which caters for people with physical and learning difficulties. That basically means that you could have no physical disability whatsoever, but you still need assistance from carers, your family, and governments, local or otherwise. There is a reason you have the badge. And fuck you if people say you're not disabled. If you are disabled in any way and you have the proof, that should be all you fucking need. It is terrible how we treat our disabled in this world. Yeah, and yet every single one of those people that say these things about non-looking disabled people are the first ones to cheer them on in Paralympic competition. Yes, she's the fucking greatest, or whatever. Piss off. Just piss off. You are no better than people like Tommy Robinson. You are discriminating against people that need the help. You are discriminating against people who are doing their absolute best. in life to be half as excited about things that are, you know, what we take for granted, so to speak. You know, people with Down syndrome, they're brilliant. They're a right laugh. You know, and they're so happy to, you know, receive things or do things that you and I wouldn't even think about. Oh yeah, that's a really special thing. Or, you know, just the smile on their faces. And not just people with Downs. Any physical or learning difficulty that you can get, you know, they're so happy to do X or Y. And after my stay in hospital and after my brush with death just in the last 6 months or so, you know, I feel that I do, you know, look on things a little bit differently. I enjoy birdsong a little bit more at the moment. Now, call me soft, call me a bit, you know, silly for thinking that, but it's something I appreciate a little bit more, because I might not have been able to hear any more, you know. It's not something I'm overly excited about, it's just nice to hear. And the final one from my cousin more or less stretches on from that. It's annoying when you get offers of help from friends or family members that you don't see very often, and they say, "Oh yeah, we'll sort that out for you," or we'll get you that, or we'll sort you out with something, and then you don't get fuck all. I haven't had a lot of experience on it, but I can imagine that it does get really frustrating. So if you need, say, or I don't know, need a small loan or something like that, or just or a decent bag to take to the hospital or something like that, yeah, we'll get you that. We'll sort something out for you, and then fuck it all happens. You know, so like you got an appointment 3 weeks down the line, and you need a bag for like a couple of days stay or something, and you get told, yeah, we'll sort that out for you. And then you get to the day before, and you don't want to call them up and just say, "You said you were going to get me that bag. Any sign of it?" "Oh, no, we haven't done that. We've been too busy." Fuck off, mate. You've said, you've more or less promised that you'll help me out, and you haven't done it. What kind of person are you? You know, I mean, they're not bad to the extremes of a racial activist like Tommy Robinson, or a member of the BNP, or a hate person or whatever, but they're, you know, they're on the same spectrum, just the other side of it, and just saying, well, yeah, all right, thanks a fucking bunch. Now I've got to take time out of my day. I've been preparing for this for X amount of time, and I've got to take more time out of my day to get something that you said you were going to get me. Thanks a fucking bunch. So I can understand where she's coming from with regards to that. And hello, cousin Helen. Thank you very much for your suggestions. On to another viewer, and a very good friend of mine, when I was very little, in fact, and we stayed in touch ever since, even though he lives in a different county. And he's come up with an extension of one of my previous videos, which is why can't Formula One be like Austria? Now, we've just had the Austrian Grand Prix, and it was one of the most exciting races we've had for quite a long time, for one very good reason. The Mercedes cars of Valtteri Bottas and Lewis Hamilton weren't competitive. That led to a good battle between Max Verstappen of Red Bull and Charles Leclerc of Ferrari, two non-Mercedes drivers. And the answer is simple. It's because Mercedes were not competitive, which meant more drivers got a crack, or more teams got a crack at the race win. Truth be told, yes, it was only 2 more teams, but at the same time, Mercedes, again, weren't competitive. Now, unfortunately, one team's dominance in F1 isn't anything new. you know, from my first memories of Formula One was when Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna collided at Suzuka in Japan in 1989. At that time, they were constructors and world drivers champions. The previous year, in 1988, they won something like 15 out of the 16 races. Now, if social media and things like that had existed back then, we'd be bored. We would have been bored shitless of McLaren back in the day. And you go forward to the days of Michael Schumacher at Ferrari. On one hand, brilliant if you were a Ferrari fan, like myself, and probably mate was. But at the same time, quite boring if you weren't. You know, you might get the odd other victory from the odd other team like Williams, McLaren. You know, you got the odd victory from a Jordan once upon a time, but it was mainly Schumacher from 2000 to 2004. So, on one hand, yeah, it's great to see a race like the Austrian Grand Prix, where someone other than a Mercedes driver would win. But there's nothing that, I mean, the viewing public can do. Most races are held in the countries that hold them in the months where you don't expect bad weather. Coming up soon is the British Grand Prix, and as you watch this, or as I record this, we've not had a decent spell of rain in 2 weeks. You know, ideal time to host the British Grand Prix. But you know, you add water to a race, or you minus the Mercedes effect, and it does make it exciting. Unfortunately, not many races are going to be like the Austrian Grand Prix for excitement, because the Mercedes will always dominate it. Now here's a good one. A video or two ago I produced something moaning and complaining about the human body and how fragile it can be despite its advantages and things like that. Why is healthy food that is required more by the human body, and especially people with diabetes or any other, you know, illness that makes you need things more, why is it more expensive than junk food or food of a lesser healthy option, so to speak? It's a very good question, and something that really does need addressing by those in power or those that decide how much something is. Being ill is fucking expensive, and luckily, since I've been diagnosed with diabetes, I have something called a medical exemption card, which gives me the right to not pay for my prescriptions, because I need more medication than, say, you watching perhaps, which really does help, because if I was in the hospital and I had to pay for my medication, I'd be dead right now. And my mother certainly would have died a long time before she did, had she not had the same exemption. It is disgraceful how much medication costs. Say like a batch of paracetamol tablets might cost maybe 10 pence to produce, and yet they sell them in batches of say 28 or a month's supply for say 60p. Alright, fair enough, you've got to make your profits as a business, but at the same time you have to realise that there are people that need your medication that you've produced, that you've made. Yes, alright, you've got to make your money, but at the same time people need this medication to beat back a disease or beat an illness or recover from an injury like myself. But food is something that we all need to stay alive. And obviously we live in different countries around the world that have different accesses to certain things. But again, the question brought up is, why is healthy food more expensive than like a McDonald's or a a packet of crisps or something like that. When I was growing up, there was a crisp called Transformer Snack. Now, I'm sure many of you watching will remember Transformer Snack. They were 10p. And I'm not just talking about snacks or whatever, but say like if you were on a health kick or trying to lose some weight or whatever, and you wanted to buy an apple or a banana or something like that, and you've got £2 in your pocket. Now, all right, yeah, if you're going to be pedantic, yeah, you need more than £2 to get a decent amount of food. But let's just say you had £2 and you wanted to buy an apple and a banana and maybe some, oh, I don't fucking know, maybe some grapes or something like that. Unrealistic, yes, I know, but this is just an example. And yet, for the same £2, you can get maybe 10 bags of crisps and, you know, a can of Coke or something like that. What sounds more appealing to you? No fucking contest. But I'm not saying it's fruit and veg. It's like diabetic chocolate. When Mum first had to start using an insulin pen because her pancreas weren't working properly, she bought a couple of bars of diabetic chocolate. Now, a bar of chocolate these days is getting on for like 70, 80p, something like that. But in retrospect, the same bar of chocolate, or the same size bar of chocolate, same weight, in other words, I don't know, 50, 60 grams or whatever, would be something like £1.50. It's fucking ridiculous. You companies are charging the people that need or want to use your product more for the right to be better off. You're punishing us, so to speak. You know, it's like, we want X product, and that your competitors or a worse off version is sometimes 50% cheaper. Is it any wonder why fucking there's more diabetics in the country? Or is there any fucking wonder why there's childhood obesity or obesity as a whole? Because it's fucking cheaper. We've got enough shit to pay for with regards to you know, living costs and shit, without worrying about, oh, how much sugar content is in this thing, or how much does that cost? If it's better for me, I'll better have it. Oh, it's £3. Yet there's something over there that I quite like. It's less than £1. I'm fucking having that. And that's what it's not what people want. You know, it's like these adverts on TV where you see a bunch of kids, I'll probably mention this in a very recent Moaning Show, but an advert for EDF Energy. You know, it's like you got kids saying, I want to live in a healthier environment. I want to live in a world where people pay, do things more, and you know, it's like, it's just a lot of bullshit. All people want to do is have more money for themselves, which basically means you will buy the less expensive option 99.9% of the time. It's common fucking sense. It's me on the thing brought up, and specifically council tax. Is a bill introduced to help out councils and the way that they provide services for the local community. Now, one of the worst things to happen in the last 5 years or so is the fact that your bins or your refuse gets collected less, and you've got provided with a bin that can basically hold 2 bags, and yet it gets collected, your bins, your full bins with your rubbish, your whatever, gets collected once every 3 weeks, at least in Devon where I live. That's the case. Now, a horrible thing right now is the mere fact that, yeah, alright, you may get your recyclables collected once a week, or you may get your food waste, like bones and you know, like fruit stalks and things like that. They get collected, excuse me, they get collected once a week. The grass may be cut on grassy areas during the summer. Other than that, where does this fucking money go? You know, what's it for? I mean, yeah, it's a tremendous undertaking by any local government organisation. And it is frustrating to a certain degree. It does get fucking annoying, let's be honest. Because when is the time that they're going to stop collecting it once every 3 weeks? Because pretty soon it's going to come to the point where it's going to be, you're going to get a letter through, or it's going to be on the news and it's going to say refuse collections are going to be once a month. What the fuck are you supposed to do then? Here's what me and my dad do. To counteract the amount of rubbish that we produce, we take rubbish on a more or less a daily basis in a carrier bag to either a local bin or a bin next to the supermarket we shop at, and we just toss it away in the bin. How people around the country are not doing that, or if they don't do it, how do they survive? You know, do they put out 3 bins and hope that the lid closes? And that's another fucking irritating thing as well. The council or the bin men won't take a bin if the lid isn't down. What the fuck? We are paying for a service. Provide that service, or, you know, you're quite literally taking the piss. You know? We won't take your bin if it's not that. Fuck off. Especially around Christmas time, you know, the Christmas bins are the busiest ones of all. Not only do they have more in them because we buy more rubbish or buy more shit to unpack and crap like that, but they have a week off, or they have a couple of days off. Yeah, alright, everyone's entitled to a couple of days off around Christmas, apart from certain workforces. But you complain about the bin lid not being down, and you've not been to collect my bin for best part of 4 weeks. Fuck off. It's ridiculous. You know, and the less rubbish you use, the more value you're going to get out of it. Use my tip, people. Take a daily bag of rubbish. Doesn't have to be heavy, doesn't have to contain a lot. Just a daily bag of rubbish when you go out to work or whatever. Find a bin, just put it in there. It's not fly tipping. Who's going to know? Make sure you don't got any letters or anything else with your name and address on them, obviously. Ooh. But just fucking, I don't know, just until that's sorted out and we pay more tax, things are going to get worse with regards to that. It might turn into once every 5 weeks and you have to find some rubbish collection service that will take your shit away. But then you've got to be careful about fly tipping and all that bullshit. But anyway, on to the final bit of the viewer suggestions. And that is something about video games that I did forget to mention, which is probably why it's been suggested. And it's like gambling in video games or loot boxes or whatever. And I myself, I wouldn't say a victim because you choose to do it, but it's a practice. It's a less respectable practice done by video game companies, that you might get, for instance, a better gun or a better weapon in general, or, you know, do this to have a chance, and that's the word here, chance, at getting a better car or a better vehicle, or don't buy this and you might get a red vest for your character. Fucking hell. And you pay like X amount of money to get, say, 10-20 chances at getting something that you really want. And it's a gambling mechanic. You're paying for the right to get a chance or a possibility of getting this, getting that, or whatever. and it's fucking stupid. These things should be directly for sale, or a chance at doing X or Y. No, it's like, oh, no, to get a more vibrant costume, and you put in your code or whatever, and you get the thing, and it's like, you have picked up 4 blah blah blahs, and it's nothing that you want. And it is a load of crap, and it's getting more dangerous by the year. There's stories all over the place about how a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old who likes playing the game, and you download the app for it, and most apps or games now say contains in-app purchases, and this is just as bad as loot boxes or gambling mechanics. You know, it's sort of like a kid, if he knows your password, or if you don't lock things behind a password or whatever, could spend like £1,000 without you realising or whatever, and things pop up, and it's like, oh, your kid's just bought the car with go faster stripes, or the weapon with go faster bullets, or you know what I mean. And all of a sudden you're £1,000 down, and you've got no idea. Or it's like you have to consider how you are going to get out of this financial situation, all because of these gambling mechanics and loot boxes and shit like that. It's really dangerous, really unfortunate for the parents or whatever. Again, it comes down to what you allow your children, or what you allow others to do with your game / device. You have to be really careful, you know, because there's arseholes on the internet that try and steal your money by looking at what you're doing. You know, you could be looked at watching this video. You just don't know, you know, unless you're really tech savvy and you set up some sort of like thingy device. I'm not that tech savvy. I know computers. I don't know how to make one. I'd love to know how to make one. I'd love to be able to do things. If I don't know how to do something and I need to know how to do something, I look to YouTube. It's the best place for instructions and shit. The internet may have like guides and, you know, writing down shit, but the best way to do something, or to learn how to do something, is to watch somebody else do it. I wouldn't do these videos if it wasn't for, you know, other videos of the type, not moaning and complaining, but videos being set up by YouTube. But that's about it for this edition of the Moaning Show. I thank you very, very much for watching. That's episode 50 in the books, and it's been fun getting suggestions from other people to, you know, try and get the Moaning Show a little bit, I wouldn't say necessarily more popular, but a bit more interactive, and that's basically what I'm looking for. So I'll see you soon for episode 51, which won't obviously be a special, and I'll produce that more or less at the same time, so you may see me in the same sort of guise. It's still fucking hot, so I'll probably be wearing a vest again. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you next time for more moaning.